Yes, Oklahoma beat them down last night at Memorial Stadium. Going to get into a little TU problems after the Michigan State loss. Little Spencer Sanders superlative, but you know what time it is. You know what they've been saying. Jalen Hurts went Super Saiyan 3 on him. As a matter of fact, we probably had Krillin over here looking like, yo, man, is he really going to do this? Is he really going to summon all this energy? Is his hair going to turn another color yet? Because it feels like Lincoln Riley has unlocked something and unleashed something special in a guy that just won't give you a quote. That's Jalen Hurts. My man looks like a tailback, converted linebacker, out there with the ball in his hands, making stuff happen. And then Lincoln Riley spent the last 8 months checking my man's out, saying, what does he do well? And we're going to do a ton of that. And by the way, I'm an actual wizard, as in the one with the staff on the bridge, slamming it down, talking about you shall not pass. Unless your name is Lincoln Riley, in which case you draw up quarterback counters to the left side, off play action to Trey Sermon, and then you got little flanker flare to the right side just to keep the defense guessing, and then, of course, Jalen Hurts going to take off running. That was what was so interesting to see. Is I've been very much out front saying, yo, man, that dude can't throw the ball down the field, especially on the left side. And they was like, yeah, well, we don't need to do any of that. Why? Because we got guys like Charleston Rambo taking 3 catches for 105 yards, including one that was like a little intermediate 12-yard route. Rambo took it and went just supersonic to the end zone. My man said we've been sleeping on him. Well, I mean, there's no more sleeping on you now, bruh. He was the, what was it? What's the line? Rambo drew first blood in the second half? Yeah, I'm here with the dad jokes. I'm delirious. I have not slept since Friday night. I'm here doing the show and working on Labor Day because that's what we do. But we gonna get a little weird because I can't see straight. Matter of fact, I'm sitting in the truck watching Dragon Ball Z reruns to keep myself awake. As my man Masick will tell you, I was like, yo, Masick, we need to get this Super Saiyan drop in here because it's filling my soul right now. And I'm having so much fun because we had college football Sunday night, which has never happened in my lifetime, not at Oklahoma. And we had it meaningful because everybody was watching OU and everybody wanted to see what Jalen Hurts was going to do. What was Alex Grinch's defense going to look like? Because that's what the savvy college football fan wanted to know. The savvy OU fan wanted to know, yo, man, is the defense going to be as trash as it was last year? Matter of fact, I'm walking through tailgates yesterday because I'm me, so I get there like 1 o'clock and it's sweltering. And I put on my Raiden hat looking like I'm about to summon this lightning. And I'm running into folks. It's like, yo, man, I appreciate the channel. I appreciate the show. And then right off top, what's the defense going to look like? We know Jalen's good. We know Lincoln's good. What's the defense going to do, RJ? Apparently, they heard y'all because they got back-to-back 3-and-outs to start the game. Start them off right, and OU fans could not feel their face. Meanwhile, we got Oklahoma walking up to Houston pulling a Charlie Murphy, Rick James. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Patrick, what did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Slap.
Hey, there he is. There he is. No, we're gonna get into it, man. I'm out here just. I'm so excited. I got a great parking space in here because nobody here to work but us. You know, it's nothing but the dudes that make this ship go round. It's me. It's Masick. Mayberry's in there cutting up stuff. Coach is in his office getting ready for his show. This is awesome. Like, I've never actually had to, like, literally work on Labor Day. And I couldn't think of something I would rather be doing at all than what I'm doing right now. It's so much fun.
We played good football at times, but it was not consistent enough.
You seem super disappointed right now, and yet you set a new school record for yards in a debut, and you're also the first Oklahoma quarterback in school history to throw for over 300 and rush for over 150. So can you be somewhat happy?
I got to go talk to my boys. We got to get right. We got to get better. We got to take more steps.
When you look back on this game tonight, what do you think is the thing that you've got to clean up most?
Sloppy play, really trusting it, and just executing better. We got to execute better.
How much better can you execute, dog? Oklahoma put up 686 yards of offense, 332 yards passing from Jalen Hurts, 354 yards rushing. He had 176 yards rushing on 16 carries. The offense averaged 11.2 yards per play. The egregious penalty was Marquise Hayes just feeling himself blocking people out of bounds. Now, you missed one throw, and you still can't throw deep to your left, and if you're talking about yourself and stuff you need to clean up, cool, whatever. But you couldn't take just a little joy in being the first to throw for 300 and rush for 150 at Oklahoma, especially in front of Holly. Holly's royalty. Come on, y'all. You know what time it is, Jalen. Give Holly a quote or something. And he's like, I don't do that. And as much as people want to keep comparing him to Nick Saban, and I understand, if you heard the interview that Holly performed with Avarian Hurts, his dad, you also see some of that. But he's going to be his own man. My man showed up in a tie in the postgame, looking real fresh, looking real clean, looking like he's got a whole lot of nothing to say and just wants you to see these red spats on his shoes. Like I was thinking to myself when I saw them red spats in the pregame, I'm like, yo, you can't be walking around in no red spats and not have no game. You better show out. And he's like, I got you, RJ. I got you. Watch this. I'm going to find dudes out in space, and I'm going to take off running when it ain't there. And as much as he was great, the only real blemish for him is he put the ball on the ground, created the turnover, and that was a 10-point swing because it looked like OU was going to score. Houston turned that drive or that turnover into 3 points, whereas I was quickly reminded on the Twitters, yo, RJ, last year that would have been a 14-point swing. And we'll get into what Grinch and my man's Kenneth Murray did, a.k.a. the Lycan, in the next segment. But, yo, I'm watching this game, and I'm watching from the presser, or press box, not from the presser. I keep saying presser. I need to stop saying that. Press conference. I'm watching this game from the press box, and what's so astonishing is just how often Lincoln Riley's play calls allowed Jalen Hurts to be right. What I mean by that is offensive coordinators and offensive play callers are constantly trying to move defenders around with formations and scheme and get them out of position, make them uncomfortable, and put them into trick bags where there's no right answer. And as much as offensive coordinators try to do that week in and week out, the only guy that seems to be able to pull it off for the last 3 years in a row is Lincoln friggin' Riley. He found a way to get friggin' 21 personnel out there, to get 12 personnel out there. You saw 2 running backs, 1 tight end. You saw 2 tight end sets. You saw 3 to 1 side. You saw 2x2. You saw movement. You saw Jalen Hurts say, oh, cool, y'all just going to leave the middle of the field open? All right, I'm going to take off running. And while he ain't mastered the slide like Calum Murray, my man's, turns into a turtle and rolls up, it's fine. And I'm thinking to myself, this dude is awesome. And I get a text from my buddy. He's like, yo, you know what? Jalen Hurts ain't that fast. And I'm going, that's your critique? That's what you got? Your critique is my man ain't that fast? How fast does he need to be? He was fast enough to get 176 yards rushing, 3 TDs. My man had as many touchdowns passed as he did rushing TDs as he did incompletions. I've seen this before. It happened last year. So now what we're having to really take into account is it really plug and play for Lincoln? No, I don't think it's that. I think he's an outstanding evaluator, and I think that he will call plays for his personnel, which is the job, which is not what coaches do. Coaches do not change. That's a rule. It's like right up there with Rule 42. It's a rule. They don't change. And Lincoln says, no, it's cool. I know what he has, and I know what we can do with him. Perspective is, Kyler Murray was setting the passer efficiency rating record that Baker Mayfield broke, and Tua got it by like 0.2 at just over 200. Jalen Hurts' passer rating last night was 251.3. My goodness. And no receiver had more than 3 catches, and yet you had 10 receivers catch a pass last night. And as good as Jalen Hurts was, you got to look and see that Trey Sermon carried the ball 11 times, 91 yards, and Kennedy Brooks carried the ball 4 times for 46 yards. Ramondre Stevenson carried the ball 6 times, 41 yards, and a TD. I thought the dude put the ball on the ground from the first glance, and then I was checked, and then I checked the math because I'm watching this live, and you see that the handoff was not clean. Because I was thinking he might get Abdul Adams, because the last time that an OU running back put the ball on the ground like that, we never saw him again. And yet, maybe it's because you only had the 3 scholarship running backs available. You saw more Ramondre Stevenson and no Marcus Major or TJ Pledger, who were not dressed out. Now the question becomes, how long can they do this before they get found out? Because now there's film on what they like to do and why they want to do it. And if you are a defense, why would you not load the box against Jalen Hurts? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's keep to the takeaways with the game. Jalen Hurts not only became the first player in OU history to throw for 300 and rush for 150, he also, as you know, busted up Baker Mayfield's record for total offense in a debut. The record was 396 yards. It is 508 yards after last night. But what I found most interesting is that in the first half, he carried the ball 11 times for 128 yards, which is awesome. I did not know, however, that he tied that record held by Jamel Holloway. Jamel Holloway set that record against Kansas in 1985. Most rushing yards by a quarterback in the first half. And he was running the bone. Patrick, he was running the bone.
He was supposed to run.
Yes.
He was supposed to get those yards.
And now we're looking at Jalen Hurts going, yo, you're as good a runner as Jamel Holloway? Probably. And as much as we'd like to see a wishbone-style offense from time to time because we all are nostalgic, I feel like we're seeing a version of the air raid that is no longer going to be a version of the air raid. What I'm saying is there are going to be air raid passing concepts in there because it's a lot like the West Coast offense in that you want to get the ball out quickly and you want to do some intermediate routes, you want to go fast. But what I saw was much more akin to basketball on grass. Lots of movement in the backfield, trying to get dudes out of position and get numbers running one way versus another way. Lots of misdirection in the play call. Not a whole lot of just let's go vert and let's go deep. It was a whole lot of let's spread them out and let's force them to try to tackle us. Because as soon as I saw Trey Sermon go running free on that opening drive, 3 plays, 61 yards, took all of 40 seconds. You know what else is 40 seconds long? The friggin' NFL play clock. That's how quick this offense was. And then you had Jeremiah Hall with the first TD of the season. My favorite part about this, I don't know if you caught this, Patrick. My man excited his position coach so much that his position coach came running down, headbutt him, and he's bloody. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a little foolish, but yeah.
I mean, do we need to put Shane Beamer in concussion protocol now?
Probably.
I would.
It looked pretty. I mean, the stitches look nasty.
Hey, man, and if that's what it's going to take, then let's get it. But also, undersold in all of this, even as nobody I think has hit on it, special teams was outstanding. Kicker side, I know what you think about the kicker. We'll get to the friggin' specialist. You know how I feel about specialists and whatever.
The special teams was good.
Yes.
The field goal kicking, something to be desired.
I think they held them to like 16 yards on average per return. And I read a stat. I got to figure out where I read this stat, but it was something like your chances of scoring go down by like 60% if you start with the ball behind the 25-yard line. Like, that's ridiculous, and yet also shows you just how much having Beamer there to help Boulware design the special teams is such a big deal, because they think of special teams, and this is a good way to think of special teams, as the first play of defense, right? If you're kicking off, it is the first play of defense. You get to go down there, and you get to establish where the offense takes the ball. So if you think about it in the terms that Jay Boulware thinks about it, in the terms I think you should think about it, a kickoff done correctly allows you, like a punt, to have the opportunity to spot the ball for the offense. So if I could pin you on the 1-yard line or the 1-foot line, I'm going to try to do that every single time. And maybe you get some magic, because we saw our share of safeties this weekend. Michigan State. Wasn't a safety, though. That was a touchdown. Yeah, we'll talk about TU later. That game. Patrick, you got a take on Jalen Hurts?
I mean, look, from what we could glean from the game, I thought he looked efficient, obviously, when you only have 6 incomplete passes. Three, I'm sorry.
3.
The
6 touchdowns.
Yes. Sorry, I got my numbers confused. There's so many of them.
Right.
Look, accuracy was a question for him. I thought he looked pretty accurate. There was a couple throws there, but even though we can debate what Houston is defensively, I thought he looked clean. I thought he looked accurate. He distributed the football. He obviously has a great feel for the offense because he threw to a lot of different guys. He threw to second reads. He threw to third reads. That is very positive for a first game of the year with this guy. And we knew you were getting more than just a standard quarterback with him. But, again, bowled well for the offense. Again, I have no issues. I don't think you can have a lot of issues with the offense. Defensively, I think we'll get to. I saw some good with the defense.
And then hold that.
I saw some good with the defense, and I know we'll get to that later. But looking at the offense, a lot of guys touched the football. They distributed the ball to a lot of different guys as well. We saw Rambo. You see, I threw out there. You talked about he's faster than anyone John shot. I said he parted the defense like Heston.
Hey!
He parted that defense like Heston.
We are here for the Rambo takes.
Yes. Or Charleston.
Go ahead.
Yeah, or Charleston.
Or Charleston.
Yeah.
Dana Holgorsen actually put it very well when we talk about this offense. He said 4 years ago they were good. A year later, they were the best offense in college football. A year later, with a new quarterback, they're the best offense in college football. A year later, with a new quarterback, they look the same to me. Dana Holgorsen would know because he's holding 8 L's from Oklahoma, which, you say it 4 times, then you get to Llama Llama Red Pajama.
It rips your heart out. I mean, it'd be the equivalent of asking an offensive coach, how you feel not scoring touchdowns. I mean, that's your purpose of being on the field. Certainly, obviously, you're excited by the win, devastated. They got 2, we got none. Tell me why. I want to know why. So we got to do a better job as coaches.
Alex Grinch is not satisfied. Alex Grinch is not satisfied. Alex Grinch is not satisfied. My man, you did get a turnover. You got a turnover on downs, all right? It goes in the book as a turnover. And yet, Grinch said earlier in the week, there for this, at the post-practice availability for defense, he wanted a minimum of 2 turnovers against Houston. Because as he said, he believes the entire reason for a defense to be on the field to exist is to take the ball away from an offense so you can give it to your offense. And yet, if you watched Oklahoma's defense, and you've been watching Oklahoma's defense for the last couple of years, you would be like, hey, man, you don't understand. This is a huge win because you opened the game with back-to-back 3-and-outs. Can't tell you the last time that happened in Oklahoma. At one point during the second quarter, I looked down at the stats for news, notes, and information and saw De'Aaron King didn't have a single passing yard. 0. Goose egg. To an offense that not just averaged 512 yards a game last year, but also he passed for 271 yards per game last year. And they held him to like 167, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Now, we can talk about the 100 yards they gave up rushing to him on 15 carries, but a lot of that was him having to freelance and run for his life. And I thought that he was going to go for 300, 100. I thought he was going to have the sort of day that Jalen Hurts had. Because that's the guy you see on film. It's going, okay, Oklahoma's going to get to learn how everybody else was living last year when they had to play Kyler Murray. And yet the defense that Grinch put on the field was fast, played fast, knew its assignments. The sneaky good story for me here is nobody had a check with me. Nobody needed to look at Grinch and see what the call was or what to execute. You had late movement that the linebackers knew when to call and how to call. You saw defensive backs disguising their coverage, edging toward the line, and then breaking out. The moment I saw John Michael Terry edge up in a stand-up 9 and then just jet out, flare out to cover the flat, I was going, oh, God, they know what they're doing. They were crisp. They were sharp. And in the first half, they were clean. They were so clean. And they were led by the lichen that is Kenneth Murray Jr. As a matter of fact, I even take it further. Patrick, Can we play that cut right quick?
Has he really found a way to surpass an ascended Saiyan? Is that possible?
He must be bluffing.
That's what y'all thought. Y'all thought Kenneth Murray Jr. was bluffing. When the Kenneth Murray truther, that is R.J. Young, was saying, yo, give him 2 years, and he's going to destroy people. And what did he do yesterday? He didn't just have 13 tackles. He didn't just have 1.5 for loss. He didn't just lead. He ran people down. And we knew he could run people down last year, but now he went from seeing it and then reacting to it to knowing where the play was. He is developing middle linebacker instincts on the fly. And you can see at 6'4", 240, he is extremely fast. I'm sitting in the press box, and there are NFL scouts littering the place in front of me. So I'm watching them halfway as much as I'm watching the game, because if they're paying attention to something, I want to pay attention to it too. But I didn't have to do that, because when Kenneth Murray Jr. made a play, you heard oohs and ahs in that press box. And you saw a couple of scouts look at each other. I'm telling you, Kenneth Murray Jr. is that dude. He has been that dude. And now there's no place to hide for you, because he was running down one of the most elusive players in college football. You saw it. He flew. And then he cracked. And De'Aaron King didn't want any more of 9 on him. As a matter of fact, it's like watching Necessary Roughness. Was that Flat Top again? Yeah, it was. He's going to be here all night. Got Mike Singletary over here yelling, my kind of party. I like this kind of party. That was Kenneth Murray Jr., and he was flanked by some outstanding will play. Deshaun White got the start. Ryan Jones got early run. You saw Jalen Redmond and Ronnie Perkins converge at the quarterback. Ball popped out. Everybody was really excited to see those dudes on the field. And the more I look at this, the more I'm going, man, this defense could actually be pretty good. And then you have that sobering quote from Alex Grinch going, I hate all of this. I hate it. I need my takeaways. I wanted to give away some candy bars. And yet, that's what you need. Because it's obvious that they buy into what he's doing, but it's also obvious that he was so excited to watch them play. There is great photo taken in the Oklahoman of Alex Grinch 3 feet off the ground when his boys made a play to get a 3 and out. The energy with that group when they got the turnover on downs. The entire sideline came alive when they got that stop. When you saw Kenneth Murray Jr. going just to make one-on-one plays, guys tackling out in space, and then there was a drive where they showed, hey, look, we tackling still a work in progress. And we continue to hear these stories about, hey, look, they don't really tackle like that much in practice, and nobody tackles a week before a game. Special teams might be a little bit wonk. Nobody tackles anymore anyway. So tackling is becoming more about confidence than it is about technique. Because there was a big difference in throwing your shoulder at a guy and then wrapping your hands around his butt and squeezing. Okay? Get you a chunk in both palms and put him on the ground. And that was really interesting to see, because just hadn't been able to see that. Now, on the flip side, Pat Fields. Pat Fields. Hey, let me holler at you right now, bro. Let me holler at you. Stop hitting people out of bounds. Okay? We don't need no late hits. And when the ball is in the air and the quarterback's trying to throw the ball to you, you can't let it go through your breadbasket, dog. You can't do that. You got to turn it into a wideout. You got to make that catch. We'll make all these jokes about that's why you play DB, but there was the takeaway. You could have had that and the touchback, or you could have had that and then did your Ed Reed, where you just want to take it 108 yards out the end zone because you know what you're doing. You had a couple of those. You had 7 penalties, 94 yards. Defense kind of came unglued a little bit in the second half, but coming unglued for that defense was not coming unglued for last year's defense. Coming unglued for an Oklahoma defense against Houston 2019, hey, we're going to give up a few points. Going to give up all of 241 yards rushing altogether. Coming unglued in 2018, 700 against West Virginia. Coming unglued 2018, oh, dog, we hope that the offense gets the ball last. You didn't have any of that last night. 49-31, and it felt farther apart. I have not seen a Cougar get beat down like that ever. Matter of fact, last time I saw a Cougar take an L like that, Courtney Cox's show got canceled. You get that reference, Patrick? Okay, he got that reference. No. I'm here for a defensive story. Like, I'm charting the defense. I want to see what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I need to go back and do the rewatch because watching this stuff live, you just have a different feel to it. You're exposed to the energy of what's going on. You understand the value of having 84,000 people in attendance. You understand the value of conditioning in this heat. Because I'm going to tell you, I was walking around outside the stadium for a good 2 hours, and I had like a 2.5-mile hike out to Lloyd Noble, like the south end of Lloyd Noble, because I wasn't able to pick up my credential on my game day pass until the day of. So I had like 2.5 miles each way. A lot of y'all were very cool, but I'm going to tell you, man, it's hot. I had swamp crack. I was Captain Pit Stains. Let me tell you, I had on my sun hat, and I had this musty towel wrapped around me. It's rough. It's rough out there for a player. And yet, I wasn't playing the game. So them boys was in shape. Them boys was ready to go. Them boys wanted every bit of H-Town. And they sent H-Town packing. I ran into some Houston fans on the way back. And they was like, oh, yeah, you the dude on the YouTubes. It's like, yeah, I'm the dude on the YouTubes. Well, good luck. Yeah, good luck to you, too. Also, don't trip on this L on the way out. You know. Got to tell these Houston fans how we do it. All y'all did was take Russ, punks. Look, already got me hot about the Thunder. Don't get me started on the Thunder. Not exactly breaking news, but I wanted to include this note. Jamal Adams just tweeted that he almost went to OU, and now he's playing with your emotions. So check that out on Twitter. I wanted to check out OU Twitter when Calum Sutherland went out to make kicks, because most people thought that Gabe Burkich was going to be the guy who got the start at field. Man, talking about getting the start. Man, specialist. Okay. Let's do a serious
The starting kicker.
Yeah, let's do a serious take on kicking.
Kickers start because they kick the game off.
Oh, good God!
So they're the ultimate starter.
Let me lay this one out, and then I swear we'll get to jokes because I got jokes too. All right. So Gabe Burkich got the call for touchbacks. He got the kickoff, and he struggled to do that. Austin Seibert was elite at that over 4 years. But that wasn't the story. The story was Calum Sutherland going 0 for 2 on field goals, missing wide right. Natty Light. 49 yards and 36 yards. Lincoln Riley actually took blame for the 49-yarder, like, on him, like, straight up. He was pissed about it, talking in the postgame, saying, look, man, that's on me. I put him in a bad situation. I put him in a bad spot. To ask a kid to go out there and make his first kick from 49, 50 yards out, that's Bush from the coach. That's Bush League. I gotta do better. And he says, I botched that. I blundered that. And then the 36-yarder one, he thought, he kicked it right, but that's just what it is. All right. So problem I got though is that we got to talk about kickers in a meaningful way now, and we have to also ask the question: do y'all miss Austin Seibert yet? And to which I know anybody that's listening is going, yeah, RJ, I missed him the moment that he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. To which I'm going, kickers. But, my buddy Steve he wanted to know. Like, he was like, yo, RJ, what's going on with the kicker? And I shaded him. Straight up. I was like, I don't want to talk about no doggone specialist. And yet, here we are talking about specialists. I mean, Reeves Munchau did his job, had a punt 41 yards. That's fair, and it's fair caught. Had that with 5 minutes left in the fourth. But also now we got to talk about Oklahoma and recruiting, because this was a big recruiting night. Guys like Noah Renze and Aaron Parks making the trip. But also, along with not having a quarterback committed to the 2020 class, you ain't got no kicker committed to the 2020 class. And now I got to talk about kickers in a meaningful way. I hate having to talk about Patrick, I got 2 rules in life. 2 rules.
What are they?
Go for 2. Go for it on 4th.
Okay.
I don't want you to make small mistakes. I want you to make all the mistakes. Go big.
Do you just really turn into the skid and onside kick every time too?
Man, yes, unless I got a dude that can literally, If I
put
could
it in the end zone,
Look.
Who's the? It's the coach.
I would rather
coach
kick the ball out of
that.
bounds.
Yeah.
Than have anybody get an opportunity to return one on me. Go ahead.
No, there's that coach in Arkansas who does that.
Pulaski Academy.
Pulaski, that's it. Who goes for 2 every time, onside kicks every time, and goes for it in 4th down.
Because the math says do it. Hello? Why on God's green earth would you give the ball back? Don't give the ball to anybody. The last thing you want to do in football is give the ball to somebody else.
So if it's like 4th and 20 at your own 10, you just go for it.
There's a play call for that.
Punt?
You know what? Check it. Florida, Miami. 4th and 34. What we see? Or maybe it's 34-yard penalty. Point is, pass interference.
Yeah, pass. Okay.
1st down.
Yeah.
You know, and even then, you could drop a screen if that's what you want to do. You can go to your bread and butter play, whatever pass play you got in the book. All right? Because to try to dude out there that doesn't play a whole lot of football and ask that dude to come through in a clutch moment is asinine and insane to me. Yo, we got 4 seconds left to play. We got to trot out this kicker to go try to win us a game. That ain't fair to the kicker. That ain't fair to the team. And yet, people keep telling me that that's the play. Hey, man, you got to kick it. Well, you got to make the kicks if you're going to put them out there, too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what'd you just do? You gave him the ball at, the 34?
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about a 51-yarder? Because I think that's the rule. You tack on 17 yards to the spot, and that's what because you got
end zone and snap.
Right.
You know, it was interesting because I was listening to the radio call for the second miss, okay? And before they're talking about, hey, this will be good for OU, for their psyche, for their kicker. You get some quick points after Houston got a field goal. It'll give you some, but if you miss it, boy, you leave the half with Houston getting some momentum, and that's 2 missed kicks. What does that do to your kicker? And boom, of course he misses it. So we'll have to see how that plays out. You know, I look at OU right now and think there'll come a game where they need a field goal. I mean, even last year, think about it, the Army game. I mean, they had to get a field goal to win it, and they missed it. So there's going to be games where you'll have a field goal, and of course they went on to win, but there's going to be games where you need a kick either to tie it, to win it, or do something in that game to extend the lead. So you got to be able to make some kicks. But
probably you are in that position if your kicker screwed up in the first half, in the first place. Because look at it this way: if Hurts doesn't put the ball on the ground last night, Houston doesn't have an opportunity to kick, and you got 7. Okay, that's a 10-point swing. If Calum Sutherland hits both of those field goals, you're talking about winning 54 to what? Like 23, 28?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not close. What I'm saying is, if you're going to have him do all this stuff, but he ain't made the kick to begin with, don't try to back out. Now, I get it. Two attempts. But, man, given all this love to a kicker and the kicking game, I can't, man. Only special teams I want to coach is Suicide Squad. Give me kickoff, give me kick return, give me punt return, give me punt block. I'll take all the rest. And you know what? We'll let the kickers go over there, do their own thing. All these Australian kickers and this punters in this college football. I bet Dane Roy knows where this place is now. Gonna stamp OU on your back, dog. You was out there punting a lot in Norman. 84,000 people. It's the other thing he says, like 106,000. Ain't no 106. Ain't never been no 106,000.
Yeah. Another thing, too, this always baffles me. Because, look, Alabama went through the same thing, and that was the running joke yesterday about you get Jalen Hurts, you get Alabama's kicking game. Why major schools have trouble finding a kicker?
Because ain't nobody out there kicking, dog. I mean, this is why Carly Lloyd had a tryout with the Eagles, because there ain't nobody out there kicking.
Well, look at there's other schools that have good kickers.
No, there's other schools that have Lou Groza Award winners. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to throw Andre Schmidt out there, fine. But
the Nevada kicker kicked a 50-plus yarder to win the game against Purdue. I mean,
okay, so you get past 10. Get past 10. Go ahead.
Get past 10?
10 kickers.
Oh, man, I don't know if I can get past.
That's exactly my point.
But what I'm saying is, it seems like there's guys who can make it.
They play soccer.
Yeah. Well, why can't OU get a soccer player?
Because he wants to play soccer.
That's true.
Because there's glory in scoring goals. There's no glory in being a kicker. The only thing we know about a kicker is that if you miss, we're going to cut you. Ask Kobe Parkey.
Yeah. Can someone be an elite kicker? Is there elite
Oh,
kicker?
yeah, you can be an elite kicker, but you got to do it forever. Because it's one of those things like being on radio. We just take you at being good because you've been around forever. Take Mort Anderson.
Yeah.
Right? Or my man Matt Bryant just got re-signed by the Falcons.
At like 40.
We know all their names. Justin Tucker, who decided he was going to miss kicks last year.
Yeah. Adam Vinatieri.
Right. Like I said, you can name all the good ones because they've been around forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Go ahead. Name me a kicker been in 3 years good in the NFL. Make it easy.
3-year kicker?
Yeah, 3 years. Been around for 3 years. That's the length of an NFL running back, normal NFL career. 3 years. Who you got?
I can't think of the top of my head.
Exactly.
3-year kicker.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now. I'm going to put you on the spot. Right?
Okay.
Roll with me, and I'll help you if you ain't got it. Who is the starting kicker for Oklahoma State?
Oh, gosh, I saw him Friday night when I was groggy sleeping. I can't think of it.
Matt Amendola.
Yes. Wait.
Yeah.
He's still there? Yes, he is.
See? That's how much we care about kickers. See? I mean, we only care if you suck at your job, and we only acknowledge you as being good at your job when you've made 1 million kicks. So nobody's going up going, you know what? Dan Bailey was that dude as a freshman. They're going, you know what? Dan Bailey was kind of awesome for 4 years.
It's funny. I pulled up I just Googled NFL kickers. And it came up with an array of pictures, and they're all like balding or have gray mustaches.
Right.
Adam Vinatieri.
It ain't a normal job, dog. It's like
Robbie Gould is bald.
I got another one for you.
Mason Crosby has gray hair.
Got another for you. Tell you another for you. Who is the give me a starting long snapper anywhere?
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know.
Okay.
But
see where I'm going?
Hey, you can carve out a scholarship and have a nice life if you can long snap.
But I'm just give me a starting long snapper, and still people will say, "Hey man, you got to have a long snapper." Yeah, you got to. If his name is long snapper, I'll bet you know his name.
Yeah. You need a long. Yeah,
but Casey Keller or anyway, never mind. I can keep going because like Wesley Horkey got a scholarship to long snap, and people were up in arms about it, and then it was like, nah, man, he's the best long snapper in all of football coming out of high school, and it's like, how do you get that as a moniker? To which it was like, it's actually quite simple. You go to long snapper camps and they rank you just like we do at like the opening. And like, see, you're snickering because that is what we think of kickers. It's what we think of specialists.
You need to do a video. Hey, this is RJ Young. I am at the opening long snapper.
Oh, God. I remember reading about that, man. It's like, hey, OSU signed the number 3 kicker or got a commitment from the number 3 kicker in the nation. Because Matt Amendola committed 2015. Just keeping it 100 there. Anyway, look, I got Rodrigo Blankenship on my fantasy football team because I know him as the dude that was kicking for Georgia. But don't ask me outside of the Lou Groza Award winners to have a really... I got nothing but jokes for you because football is not played by specialists. We tell specialists to go play football. Okay? It's that simple.